In the freezing darkness of December 11, 1978, a crew of masked men pulled off what would become the largest cash robbery in American history at the time. This wasn't a Hollywood set. This was JFK Airport in New York City. The target? Lufthansa Airlines. The take? Over $6 million untraceable cash and jewelry fresh off a flight from Germany. The mastermind? A man the mafia feared and trusted. His name was James "Jimmy the Gent" Burke. Although not Italian and therefore barred from becoming a made man in the mafia, Jimmy was a ruthless and respected associate of the Lucchese crime family. Smart, strategic, and absolutely cold-blooded, Jimmy had already pulled off several airport hijackings. But this time, he wanted a score that would make history. That opportunity came in the form of a Lufthansa cargo supervisor named Louis Werner. Werner was neck-deep in gambling debts and desperate. Werner knew the vaults, the guards, the timing, everything. In exchange for clearing his debts, he gave Burke the inside scoop. Every security flaw, every schedule. The job was practically handed to Jimmy on a silver platter. Planning began months in advance. Burke assembled a trusted crew of violent, skilled men. There was Tommy DeSimone, known for his explosive temper. Angelo Sepe, another mob enforcer. They stole a van, rehearsed, timed guard shifts. Everything was ready. At around 3 a.m., they made their move. Wearing fake airport security uniforms, the crew rolled up to the Lufthansa cargo building, number 261. With surgical precision, they subdued the night staff. No loud commands, no gunfire. They rounded up the employees, tied them up, and placed them face down at gunpoint. One of the employees was forced to deactivate the alarm system. Another was made to open the vault. The vault door swung open, and it was loaded. Inside was a treasure trove, bundles of U.S. cash, flown in from West Germany for American banks, stacks of high-value jewelry. In just 64 minutes, the men loaded over $5 million in cash and nearly $1 million in jewels into their van. Then, as silently as they came, they disappeared into the cold night. It was perfect. No one was killed. No alarms tripped. And the police weren't even aware of the robbery until hours later. The van and the money were gone. The FBI was immediately called in. This wasn't just a theft. It was an organized assault on a high-security federal logistics hub. And the prime suspect? Jimmy Burke. But with no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no cameras, the case started cold. Meanwhile, Burke warned his crew, stay low, don't spend, don't brag. But criminals rarely listen. Days later, one crew member showed up in a brand new Cadillac. Another gifted his wife a fur coat. Burke was livid. He knew the feds were watching, and anyone who slipped could bring the whole operation down. Then the paranoia kicked in. Over the next few months, a wave of murders swept through New York's underworld. 10 people, maybe more, connected to the heist were killed. Some were shot execution style, others dumped in rivers, trunks, or meat trucks. One was found frozen. Burke had made his choice. If you could talk, you wouldn't be alive to do it. Meanwhile, FBI agents were tailing known Lucchese associates, planting wiretaps and running stakeouts. But no one was talking. The job had been too clean, too fast, too well executed. The only lead they had was Louis Werner, the inside man. He eventually got caught for theft-related charges, but he never gave up the full plan. Jimmy Burke kept his mouth shut too. His silence was his armor, even as the body count stacked up. One of the most infamous vanishings was Tommy DeSimone. Known for his violent temper and later portrayed by Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, Tommy simply disappeared in early 1979. No body, no answers. Some said Jimmy had him killed to prevent him from flipping. Others claimed the Gambino family got revenge after Tommy killed a made man. Either way, Tommy never resurfaced, and his name became yet another ghost in the Lufthansa trail of blood. Eventually, Jimmy Burke was arrested, not for the heist, but for drug trafficking and rigging college basketball games. The FBI never nailed him for Lufthansa. The robbery itself remained legally unsolved. Jimmy died in prison in 1996, still tight-lipped. The most staggering detail? The loot, over $6 million, was never recovered. Not a single trace. Some believe it was laundered through Las Vegas. Others say it's buried in New Jersey, still waiting to be found. The Lufthansa heist stunned the world. How could millions vanish from under such heavy security? How could the FBI fail to find the money, or even the men behind it? The truth is, the mafia had mastered fear and silence. Witnesses disappeared. Suspects were terrified. And Burke's ruthlessness kept even his allies on edge. Everyone knew, if you said the wrong thing, you were next. The real brilliance of the heist wasn't the theft. It was the cover-up. The story captured the public imagination. Books were written. Headlines speculated. People whispered that the money funded new casinos, bribed politicians, or fueled more crime. Lufthansa tightened airport security nationwide. Airlines and banks completely overhauled how they transported money. The mob had exposed a massive weakness and exploited it without mercy. Burke's heist had become more than a robbery. It was now a blueprint for modern criminal operations. But the fallout wasn't just about money. The heist sparked years of gangland killings. Dozens of low-level mobsters, associates, and their families were caught in the crossfire. The FBI eventually used the paranoia to turn witnesses in other cases. Ironically, the silence around Lufthansa helped crack other unrelated investigations. Jimmy Burke may have escaped conviction, but his heist tore holes in the mafia's armor that never fully healed. Then came Hollywood. Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas immortalized the robbery on film. The characters were based on real people. The violence, the planning, the betrayal, it was all grounded in truth. Audiences were mesmerized. The heist became legend. But what the film didn't show was the fear that lingered for decades. Survivors changed names, families were relocated, and to this day, nobody truly knows where the money ended up, or who else paid the price. The Lufthansa heist was a perfect storm: inside help, ruthless leadership, and silence that could only come from organized crime. It remains one of the most successful and bloody robberies in U.S. history. And the lesson it leaves us with? No matter how perfect a plan may seem, greed, fear, and paranoia can unravel everything. The money vanished. The crew vanished. And the truth? Buried deeper than the cash itself. No face, just facts. If that blew your mind, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more.